Hey guys, are you ready for a wild ride through Love Is Blind season 9? Okay, because this season is delivering all the feels, the fights, the surprises, and some deeply messy moments in Baja. Okay, we're not going to recap every single episode. Instead, I'm going to take you on the highlight reel, kind of present the pros and cons of each couple, how their dynamic shifted when the honeymoon ended, and which ones are already showing the cracks. Okay. Now, at the end, I'm going to let you guys decide which couple to do a full energy reading on. So keep your teacups ready. All right, let's dive in. Now, setting the scene and the pod matches. Season 9 kind of opened up in Denver, 32 singles, pods, emotional connections with outside. Okay, we already know how that goes. Now, before we got to Baja, we do see who got engaged in the pods. We had Ali and Anton, Kalybriah and Ed, Madison and Joe, Megan and Jordan, Annie and Nick, and Kacie and Patrick, right? I don't think I'm leaving anybody else out. Already there's like some preview tension. You can see that Kacie, who was originally paired with Patrick, she tells the producer she's worried her attraction to Patrick won't grow. Okay. She's positive that it'll never grow. Now, this what's so crazy is when she was talking to Patrick, mind you, Patrick already had a girl that he wanted to pick, the other Asian girl, but the other Asian girl ended up leaving. And I feel like the only reason why she left is because one, she was either worried about like how her family was going to feel because they were a traditional, immigrant family, and I don't think she felt like the connection with Patrick was strong enough. Even though she was kind of connecting with him, she really wanted to be with the white boy. And the white boy left because she was his first connection or his strongest connection. She basically messed up the show, if you ask me. She started to kind of create like this ripple effect. And then I knew it was going to go bad when Patrick started to choose the other girl, Kacie, as his next best choice. I was like, that's not who you wanted to be with anybody anyway, but you wanted to pick somebody so bad that that's who you settled for. As soon as they opened up them doors, I said, oh my God, I already know she's not attracted to him. It's like, I hate this show. I always kind of get it confused with, what is it? Married at First Sight, because they kind of do similar things, and I always kind of like feel like the couples overlap in my mind. But for this show, I can always tell who's gonna like who based off of the first impression that they get when they see the person. So Kacie, I already knew she didn't like Patrick. He was too Asian looking for her. I mean, he was tall. He had a nice little buff body. You could tell he was a cute baby. Like, I mean, I think even like, I forget what he did as far as his job was concerned, but I just felt like, girl, why can't you just kind of like grow into it? You never know how you're going to feel about somebody. Ultimately, it's all really based off of how they start treating you, is when you really find an attraction or not. And I felt like in her confessional, she was saying that she didn't want to go into the situation just based off of looks because that's what she's done in the past. Or am I confusing her with what's her name used to say? Megan. Okay, because I feel like she did that too. But anyway, let me stay on track. Now, the other couple that I felt was gonna have an issue off top was Joe and Madison. I knew even before they went out to see each other that it was going to be an issue. Okay. It just got escalated into that. But when she first was sitting on the floor and she said something, I forget what she said, but I was just like, oh God, he doesn't know what you look like. I could tell he's shallow. Like, I could just tell that he was shallow. He was going to want a certain type of look. And his reaction to her was I felt like it was rude, but he kept trying to say that it wasn't rude, like, or he didn't want to come off like an asshole or whatever. But it was just kind of rude. It was like, oh, I didn't put the voice to that. It's like none of you put the face to the voice like that. You don't know you don't know what this person looks like. Of course, you're gonna not be able to put the face to what actually shows up. Can you just be a little bit more open-minded? Isn't that the whole point of this experiment? Like, do these people not really comprehend what is supposed to go on? You're not supposed to fall in love with the idea of what a person looks like. You're supposed to fall in love with them. So he couldn't get past the look. And I kind of get that. I understand to some degree that if you assume that you're going to be getting like a specific look, and then it ends up being completely different or the complete opposite of what you normally pick, then I can kind of understand how that can be just like hard for a guy to get over. But he didn't even really try. Okay, so then we moved on to Ali and Anton, because honestly, I feel like their connection in the pod was nice, but I still felt off top. I felt before they even saw each other, I said, he's going to be the type of person. Well, actually, no. When they saw each other, I said, he's going to be the type of person that's going to try to humble her. She's too pretty for him. And he's going to try to humble her at some point because he's very attracted to her. And I think she likes him too, but I think he likes her more than she likes him. And because of that, like, I mean, I do feel like the attraction is equal, but I do see the dynamic already about to play out. Okay. I feel like he's going to either be controlling, he's going to try to stifle things that she does. And I just don't think that it's going to end as well, even though I think they look really cute together. Okay. Now, first impression dynamics. Like I mentioned, obviously with Ali and Anton, I feel like the pro is going to be like the fact that they connect fast emotionally, but there's going to be friction that grows over time. I feel like it's just going to be, I don't know, just weird. Even the way she kind of felt like he was strange for kissing her with his eyes open, like she was kind of weirded out with that. So you could tell obviously that like she's not 100% attracted to him, but she does like him. You know, like almost like the pretty girl with the nerd. He's not a nerd, but you know what I'm saying? Like she just likes him a little less. So Kalybriah and Edmond, ciao. I was so mad at this connection. I think it was because I could not stand Edmond when he was by himself. Like when he was by himself with the guys and like doing weird shit, jumping off the walls and licking the floor. Like I just could not understand why he was doing all of that. Like he can't contain himself. And I feel like people like that are dangerous. I'm just going to put it out there. Like he could not contain himself. It wasn't the fact that he was vulnerable and crying, whatever. He cried more than any other girl that was on the show. He cried like every single time that he could. And that's like different than like a man opening up and showing his emotions. He took things too far. It started to get very, very uncomfortable. And I was so mad that Kalybriah kept trying to like connect with him through the wall. I was like, girl, if you knew what he looked like, none of this crying would make sense to you. And not to say that I'm not going to, whatever. Anyway, I'm not even going to go there. It's just his look made it worse. His look made it worse. It made it more awkward. It made it stupid. So by the time she saw him, she was trying to find you could tell she was just trying to stay positive. Like, oh, my little chocolate, whatever. Like, oh my God, you have style. I mean, he's wearing high water bell bottoms. Like style, I don't know if we could call it that. We could just say that he's, trying. I don't know, like the pig in his head. I couldn't understand none of it. Okay. I was trying to give him a little bit of grace because he was a foster child, but none of that shit actually matters. Like I think we got to stop giving people a pass because they've had like bad upbringings. Like everybody has had a traumatic experience in their childhood, even if you had the best upbringing, the best parents, all the bells and whistles. Like we all share the same situation. Okay. We had Kacie and Patrick. Like I said, they had somewhat of an emotional bond. My biggest issue with Kacie was the fact that she couldn't even woman up and like tell him exactly what it was when she took him to the side to let him know that I'm not gonna be in Baja. Like it was so confusing for like 10 minutes. She was saying, yeah, no, I just need to, yeah, no, I can't go to Baja. I gotta go home. And he was like, okay, that's fine. Like we can go somewhere else. Da, da, da. She was like, yeah, no. And it was like, are you gonna just say it? Like, are you gonna be forthright and get to the point? Because you are confusing him. You're confusing me. I'm watching it and I know exactly what's going on. And I'm still confused as to why you just don't say, like, I'm not attracted to you. But then you're kissing him. You kept kissing him. That was pissing me off. It's like you're mixing the signals. You're kissing him, but you're also rejecting him and telling him that you don't think that you could be attracted to him over time. So why do you keep kissing him? Why are you holding his face? Why are you making it seem like you have you're overwhelmed by the show, but you want to give him an opportunity. Then she mentioned something about her family, which I feel like she was basically trying to say, like, my family is not going to accept me being with somebody who's Asian. Like, my family is racist. Like, that's what it was kind of coming up to. Like, I was just kind of mad. And then Patrick, poor thing, he was so dumb. He couldn't even really process what she was saying. He started talking to production like, oh, yeah, so what did she tell you? And he was pacing back and forth. His body already knew what it was, but it just was like he couldn't accept it. So I feel like they should have gave him some type of replacement. They needed to redo that. Like, I was a little upset at the fact that everything got thrown off just because the first Asian girl rejected him. Like, none of this would have played out like this had that girl just stayed on the show. And I'm not trying to force her to do something she doesn't want to do, but why sign up to do something that you know what is going to happen? You know exactly what's going to happen. You know that you may not fall in love with somebody's look initially, but you have to stay mindful of the fact that you fell in love with them. And if you make that choice, like, just be an adult about it. Like, I don't know. So then we move on to Madison and Joe. Madison and Joe, there was like some like, I don't know. They felt comfortable with each other, but I also feel like they were okay. This is what I remember from Madison that pissed me off. I think she was the girl who was trying to, was it her who was trying to plan a date? And she mentioned like 7-Eleven or something, or was that somebody else? That might have been somebody else. But either way, something about her dates with Joe, I was like, y'all are not even really trying to get to the meat of why you like each other or what is important in a relationship. Like, it just kind of seemed like they were brushing over important integral parts of like what to look for in a partner or what to ask them. So it got kind of weird. More on how it got weird later, but Annie and Nick. Okay, so first impression dynamics about Annie and Nick. I did feel like they had a cute little moment. It was a spark, but I feel like Nick wasn't he wasn't completely honest because there was another girl that he had picked, right? That he said, I love you to. And then he finally said, I love you to Annie after the fact or something, or maybe he said I love you to Annie first. I don't know, but he never really seemed like he was 100% sure. It almost was like he wanted to put his eggs in multiple baskets, which I get it. You want to play your cards a certain way so that you can guarantee that you have a spot on the show. But it also just felt like maybe he's not being 100% genuine about how he really feels. Like, maybe he just is eager to get in a relationship because the perception is that he either can't get a girl or people assume that he's gay. I'm just going to say it because that's what I was getting at. I felt like I'm not even 100% sure that this man is 100% like attracted to only women. And that's okay. But at the same time, like, even his mention, he slightly mentions that he watches like Corn or something. And I was like, oh, so I don't know. I'm a little always like concerned about men who say that they watch Corn for more reasons than one. The main one being that most men don't just watch to see the woman. They are also watching the man. And I can't imagine any straight man watching Corn and not somehow getting attracted to the man also. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I'm kind of getting off on a tangent, but let's move on to Megan and Jordan. So the pro of this dynamic was that they had some connection. Oh, actually, no. This was not a pro to me. This was actually a con. It was a pro in the sense of, okay, we have something to relate on. My father had diabetes. Your son has diabetes. But I'm like, is diabetes the thing that's holding y'all together? Like, blood sugar levels is what's keeping this connection alive? Is crazy. That was the wildest thing I had ever heard of. I felt like but once they saw each other, I felt like they had the strongest connections out of all of the other couples. I actually was like, oh, this is perfect. And I'm glad that she went with her gut to go with somebody who was outside of what she would have normally picked outside, in the real world, right? But I do feel like their lifestyles is going to be an issue Because he has a child, I already feel like it's always a toss up to deal with somebody who has a child, male or female, because their time, attention, and resources are going to be split in half already. So you're going to have to find a way to be a priority, and it's going to feel awkward to you to demand that from a person who is, devoting their time, attention, and resources to a little human. So I also feel like he's not going to be able to, while she can take care of herself, she has like a great job, whatever. I feel like he's going to find an excuse to make her feel, I don't know, something. We're going to get into that at some point. But anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to the Baja trip, because this is where you start to test the people's magic, like the couple's magic that they have. This is where emotional fantasy kind of meets real chemistry, or this is where it fractures, okay? Physical intimacy, jealousy, expectations all collide at this point. Every time the couples go on their little first trip, just things go left. Like people start changing completely. It's almost like the precursor to the honeymoon without getting married yet. So Ali and Anton, I feel like, again, where I told you they pointed out the whole thing about kissing with their eyes open, that was a little weird. He says that he wanted to admire her or something. Oh, one thing about them when they first got together, though, she said his pupils were really big, and they were. And that's how I knew also that he liked her a lot more than she did. My biggest issue with Allie, though, is that I almost wish that she didn't like become as vulnerable so early on, because I feel like this is what's going to be used against her later. Um, she mentioned something also when they were in Baja about the cost of the ring. I didn't know that they paid for the rings. For some reason, I just felt like the TV show pays for the rings and then they just give them. But apparently, he might have spent $5,000 and she felt like, a ring should cost more. I agree. I do feel like your ring should cost more. However, that's what he came up with. Maybe that's all he had. I do feel like, though, your ring should be 1 month's. Well, honestly, okay, so it does vary depending on the man's income. But I think your ring is supposed to either cost like 3 months of a salary, or yeah, 3 months of a person's salary or something. I forget what the actual, there's like a standard rule, like a traditional kind of rule that you're supposed to follow. I don't know if he was following that. She kind of felt like he was just skimping on the ring. I also feel like, why would he buy a ring super expensive for somebody he hasn't met yet? You know what I mean? So, I mean, I don't know. She kind of didn't need to bring that up. Maybe she was just trying to make a joke, but it didn't go over well with him. That's where I feel like it's going to be an issue, because she's not someone who, she's a nurse. And you can tell that she likes certain aesthetics or whatever. And I feel like he's just going to try to make her do less. Okay, Kalybriah and Edmond. See, if I was Kalybriah, I would have told the production company team, whatever, you need to send me somebody else. There's absolutely no way that I can do this. First of all, Edmond was too excited to, one, be mentioning certain things about them being intimate or not to the other group. He started telling her in a conversation that they had in the bed about like, oh my God, we're the only couple that didn't have sex. Like, oh my God, I feel like everybody thinks that we're the strongest couple. Like, in what world? Like, how did he come up with that conclusion? I'm just trying to figure out, like, who told him? What hints were made that made him feel like everybody thought that he was the strongest couple? Like, he's delusional in more ways than one. And I feel like that's just a dangerous situation. Like, it's about to be, I don't know. I don't see it going well. Kalybriah seems like she's cool for the most part, but I also don't see her being so cool and calm and collected with somebody who is deranged as he is. Now, Kacie and Patrick, I feel like they should have let Patrick come on the trip. He would have been by himself, but this is when they should have sent him somebody new. Madison and Joe. Okay, this is where it got a little weird, because Joe's drinking showed up as someone who clearly is an alcoholic. He cannot hold his liquor. He was emotionally volatile. I don't know what was going on between him and what's his face, Jordan, but that was weird. Okay, like, first of all, I don't even like how Joe looks. Look at him. Just look at him. Like, Joe, I don't know what to say about this situation. The way he was talking to Jordan, it was almost as if he was more concerned about Jordan. Like, you could tell he was more concerned. And then Megan even brought it up. She was like, "You're being weird." Like, she told Jordan, like, he was being weird. The whole mention that Joe said something about, like, "Oh, you need to get out into the sun. And why are your nipples so dark?" And all, like, it was such a weird interaction, and it lasted for far too long. Like, I was just like cringing as I was watching it and almost looking away, because I was just like, when is this gonna stop? Like, when are these people gonna stop? Their girlfriends or whoever, what do you call these people? Like, they're engaged, but they're not even girlfriends. Like, I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Um, what did I want to say? Annie, okay, Annie and Nick. Annie and Nick, they seem to have this strong chemistry, right? But I told you something is up with him. I can't quite put my finger on it. I mean, I think I've touched on it, but it's more so a situation where I feel like he's gonna lose his mind. I don't know if it's like he's gonna have some type of outburst or something, but it's just not clocking to Annie yet that this is someone that I don't think is going to be standing on business with you. I just don't. And I think something about her is slightly unhinged too. I can't put my finger on it either. She just kind of seems a little flustered or out of place. I don't know what that is. Um, but I think the biggest issue was, okay, how do I put this? The biggest issue that I had with Megan and Jordan was that I felt like they were the strongest couple as far as their chemistry was concerned, right? But they had sex right away as soon as they got to Baja. And I think this is where Megan is going to start feeling stupid for doing that. I think she's going to start feeling like, "Oh, this is an idiot. Like, he just seems like he's a walking turd." I don't know what it is about Jordan that I don't like, but I just don't like him. I don't like them. And then I don't like them together. Okay, this was also weird. They were the only couple who seemed to have like a really nice so all the couples went out on a little date or whatever, right? So they went on this date, but their thing was like a spiritual retreat looking thing, with the gongs and the meditating and all of that. And I was like, "Oh, okay, so they're really about to go in. Like, they're really about to have like a really grounding moment. This is going to be life changing, whatever." And then it's just like he's gonna make her look stupid. Like, she's trying to keep it together. Like, she, I think, is used to being with somebody who's a little bit more put together. And he's just not that. He's just not that. And it's going to play out terribly. So some of the couples, like I mentioned, have already shown cracks that weren't obvious in the pods. Obviously, boundary issues, jealousy, communication breakdowns. Even I felt like there were some wandering eyes that I feel like we'll get into maybe episode 7 or whatever. But Kalybriah and Edmond, the sex discussion kind of came to a breaking point. Very uncomfortable. Did not like how much he was crying. He was using that as a form of manipulation to make her feel some type of way. Like, "You're not going to pressure me into having sex with you with your crying. Like, that's just not how this is going to work." Like, and if anything, you're turning me off even more. Even when you just look at their fucking pictures together, like, come look at him. Look at him. Look at him. Anybody who's smiling like this leave me alone. I don't want to. No, we're not doing it. I don't want to do it. It's over with. Like, no. Okay. Kacie and Patrick, I don't know. Like, again, I just feel like they need to give him a do-over. They need to give him a do-over. It's just not right that they are playing Patrick, especially because Patrick already said, I am the one who usually puts in a lot of effort and I don't get that in return. And I can see how that plays out. But he's gonna, and he's like one of those genuine nice guys. Like, not the nice guy who is a self-proclaimed nice guy, i.e. Ed. Patrick is like the actual real deal nice guy. The guy that you finally meet after you've had all of these douchebags and you recognize who he is. You're supposed to appreciate who he is because he's going to be genuine. He's going to be very consistent. The way that he is, you can also tell, like, he's going to do everything within his power to make you happy. Okay? Even if that shouldn't be his job, like, he's going to do that. Okay? Anton just gives me very controlling. I feel like with Alini, she's gonna fall into being controlled too. I think she even maybe could have been used to that dynamic. So she's gonna fall into it. Maybe she might bark back a little bit, but I don't know. I just don't. I don't really like them together. I don't know. I don't really like any of these couples together. Now that I'm really looking at it, like, look at Joe. Joe and Madison, that's a hell no. The way they were in the pool, too. Oh my God. I was cringing when she was asking him questions about, like, so what do you mean? Like, so, like, when you first saw me, like, how are you feeling? Like, why are you trying to break your own heart, girl? You can see the reaction he had. He's not attracted to you, and you don't need to get somebody's approval and, like, try to, I don't know. Ugh, the fact that they had sex too really pisses me off. Like, oh my God, you knew he wasn't attracted to you. So he's obviously going to be using you as an object and you're letting him. I would have just definitely like been like, no, we're going to hold off. And the more he got upset, the more it makes it easier for you to just get off the show. But these people, once they get into these connections, they feel so committed to like finishing it out that they want to stay on the show. And it's like, no, I would be the one who would turn up. I would just be like, listen, get me somebody new. I'm down for this process, but you're going to have to send me somebody new. Send me my second best choice, somebody. But this guy got to go. He's not even mentally stable. He's clearly an alcoholic. I'm talking to him. I'm asking him questions. He keeps repeating himself. I'm feeling freaked out. Get him some medical attention. Get me out of here. Okay. Megan and Jordan, I feel like she's going to be like, look at them. Look at them. It's crazy how my first impressions of these couples changed immediately when they got to the trip. Once they took that trip, everything changed for me. I don't see them the same at all. So, and I feel like this was the worst matching. I don't know. Can someone tell me in the comments, do they have to settle on a specific number of couples? Or do they just base the couples that go on the trip based off of who makes the connections? Because there were some people who were on the show who were in the pods. You know, we always see people in the pods who don't make it at all. But I just be wondering, like, do they not make it because they make zero connections with anybody? Or like y'all just, I don't know, something about that seems strange. Like I feel like they kind of narrowed down the couples. Maybe they do, maybe they don't, I don't know. Somebody let me know in the comments. But the deeper you go, the messier it gets with this whole Love Is Blind season 9. What started as emotional experiments in the pods now show fault lines in Baja. Okay, under pressure, under expectations, all of that. Now, where you come in, collective, I need you guys to let me know in the comments and in the poll, which couple do you want me to pull energy on next? I do want to do a full reading on one or a couple of these couples. Maybe you just want to know like the tea on a specific person. Drop your vote, your thoughts, your predictions in the comments. I'll be watching with you guys as well. And whichever couple wins, we'll do like maybe a live, deep dive on it or something. Okay. So don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you are new here. As you guys have known, well, some of you have known that I got my previous channel deleted. So I have been starting over. I am going to be posting some new stuff over here in the next couple of days. So if you haven't yet, hit the bell so you don't miss any readings. Let's keep peeling back the layers, and I will see you in the comment section. Okay. Love you. Bye.